Hello everyone, this is Zach from Average Joe Warhammer, and today it's the video everyone's been waiting for. This is the next Kitbash Showcase video, and today I'm going to finally answer everybody's questions and talk through exactly how this monstrosity was created. For those that don't know, this is the Kroot Tau'nar. A Tau'nar is a 1,000 point model that you can purchase from Forge World. It is fully usable in game. It is a Tau Titan battlesuit giant robot armor, and I have went ahead and made my own 100% custom version for my all Kroot army. Lots and lots of people have been asking me how this thing is made, where they can get it, how you can make your own, if I'm willing to make one myself, and I'm hopefully going to answer all that today and keep this video as neat and tidy as possible. But yeah, whether you're from Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, or anywhere else on the internet, I'm here to answer those questions for you. But first of all, I thought it might be fun to kind of start off with a little bit of a size comparison. So I have some of my own other personal models here to kind of show and just kind of give this guy a sense of scale for you, if you will. Never mind this little piece of trash terrain. It's just made from sprues and cardboard here. That's just to help organize stuff once I start bringing it out. So we're going to start off with some models that most people should be familiar with. Here we have a Chaos Space Marine. This is from my World Eater's army. For those who don't know, they're basically, you know, that's a standard power armor size model. He's about the same size as he's just a tiny bit shorter than a Primaris Marine. But so let's see how he stacks up next to Tau'nar. Okay, looking good so far. He comes up to almost his ankle height. So we'll go ahead and set this little friend over here. Maybe we can pretend that he's going to try to fight that thing. Next up, we have a Chaos Space Marine Terminator. Again, from my World Eater's army. They are a bit bigger, bit thicker armor than the normal Space Marines. Let's see how he looks. And just, if we count his spikes, he's almost up to the line here. He's a little bit shorter than that. Okay, so we're looking good so far. Put him right in front of the dyno here. Here's something a lot of people will know and love. This is a classic big vehicle for Warhammer. We have a Land Raider. Chaos Land Raider in this case. Let's see how he looks. There he is, level with it. The top of the Land Raider is, again, it's a little bit taller than that line on his leg there. Can move the camera a little bit. That's how that stacks up next to it. And I think that's actually pretty fair. So, like, if you're talking like in-game representation, I think a Land Raider is 18 wounds now. The Tau'nar is meant to be 30. So, you know, he's more than double the size, but not quite double the wounds, so it's not too bad. So we'll put the Land Raider over there. Next, let's bring out a couple Kroot models that those Kroot and Tau fans might know. Here's a little Kroot Carnivore. Oh, I didn't bring him out first. Kroot Carnivore. He's about the same height as that Marine, maybe slightly taller with his head spikes. So same thing, he's about that. Here is a Gnarlock Cavalry. Obviously it's a monstrous cavalry unit. There he is next to it. Just slide him up there. And here is the former big boy of the Kroot, but you know, that just wasn't good enough for me. The Great Gnarlock. This is a 3D print, of course. Fabulous, fabulous model. Actually painted this on stream if anybody was interested. It's on my Instagram. But there's him next to the Kroot Tau'nar. He's like its little baby. You know, if you can imagine this thing stomping through the jungle, he's probably eating these things, a couple of them a day. There he is, right up next to the head. Okay, we'll leave those there. And last but not least, this is probably the comparison that most people will find helpful for really thinking about it. We got a couple Imperial Knights here. So here's a baby knight, little armiger. And when he stands right up next to it, his top of his little carapace gun is almost halfway up his bottom jaw, nowhere near the top jaw or near his nose. Just I'll move him this way a little bit, run out of room here. And yeah, this is what most people will probably find helpful. Here is an Imperial Knight. Formerly, you know, this was like the big boy of Warhammer. This is a pretty massive model, but as we can see here, maybe I'll push that terrain back a little bit. If he stands, his gun is touching his mouth. The top of his carapace is still almost an inch, well yeah, probably more than an inch shorter than the top of his nose, and that doesn't even include these big old boomsticks on top. So it's just an absolutely massive model. I won't go too much into like the painting and whatnot of him, but this is entirely painted by brush. I don't have an airbrush. This was my my lockdown COVID project, so I had a lot of time on my hands. But yeah, everything you see here is painted by hand. But so yeah, I'm gonna do some close-ups now and talk about exactly how he's made, where all the parts came from. I'm just gonna move stuff out of the way just so nothing gets bumped. But so we'll start I guess with the body. So I'm sorry, I'm literally filming this on a potato, but so the base actual body of the dinosaur is a Jurassic World T-Rex. You know and love it from the movies. Just got it from my local toy store. I actually had originally planned, and I'll have it pop up on the screen now, to use the Indominus Rex body because it had some quills already and it had a little bit more interesting of a shape, but my store didn't have it, and as I've said before, I'm an impatient child, so I just went ahead and used the T-Rex, and you know, just willy-nilly making this huge thing, all this effort. I'll just use whatever toy I find. But anyways, I think it turned out fine. But yeah, with that image that just popped up, you might notice that my sketch of it is actually over top of a black and white printout of the Indominus Rex, and then I sketched my thoughts on it. And that's something I really, it helped a lot. Like this thing is huge and it's crazy, and especially the saddle, like it was a lot of planning, and some things I planned didn't end up happening, and some things happened that I didn't end up planning. But I find that really helpful for me to sit down and draw out what I realistically think I can do, and then try to get as close to achieving that as I can. I'd also like to point out, and this is going to sound really stupid and people might not believe me, this was my first time ever using any green stuff. So when I go through this and show all the green stuff work that's going on here, this is my first time ever touching green stuff ever. So some of it I could probably do a little bit better now, but I just went balls to the wall and started slapping that green goop all over this toy, and just did my best. So anyways, so the base body is an actual toy T-Rex. It's not a 3D print, it's not anything like that, it's an actual toy. And it might not be clear from that image, but, and I'll zoom in here, that toy was meant to move its head all around, its legs moved, it had arms that moved, its tail had like 3 joints so it could move, had a button on its back, the jaw opened and closed, had just so many joints. It was a terrible toy to pick for this thing, but it's what I had. So all of those joints had to be filled in, otherwise this thing would look more like a toy and less like a model. And so some of them are cleverly hidden underneath the straps on his body. So each of those straps is hiding a joint that would have moved his neck or moved his tail. These are just slabs of green stuff wrapped around to look like straps. I'll start down here at the tail, I guess. There is one joint. I actually didn't do too bad of hiding them. It took me a minute to find it. one joint was right here, and I had considered, because for those who don't know, like I'll go down here, the Kroot only have these little stubby little bird tails. They don't have big long reptile tails typically. But he actually couldn't balance without it, guys. So, and I just thought it looked better to have the whole big long tail. So I made the decision to keep the whole tail, otherwise I would have had to come up with some sort of a weight to balance him in the back here, because he's too front heavy. So he's got the full long tail. There's one joint about here that's been filled in. The next one is under here, and you can just kind of see, like I used sculpting tools from Amazon to try to keep his skin is like fantastically textured. But so obviously if you just slap green stuff on there, it's going to be smooth, so I had to go and try to remake all the little wrinkles and stuff. So anyway, yep, so there's that, and then he had, of course, big ones along the backs, or the tops of all his legs on either side. So that all had to be filled in. The saddle guard underneath there, that's all just a big slab of green stuff. These wires, big slabs of green stuff, and there's fantastic videos for sculpting green stuff. I know Modern Synthesist on YouTube, he has some really great videos for working with YouTube. Shout out to him. He's also on Instagram. But yeah, so all green stuff. His face, all of this all the way up to up here is just a big slab of green stuff. Same thing on the other side, and then sculpted to look like a beak. And I left the teeth on. So the teeth are under there, and I basically use them as supports and kind of almost the outline of them to get the jagged beak. Same thing on the bottom from about here down, all green stuff. Try to get a little bit clearer here. Yeah, so you can see where like my sculpting was not quite on par with what it could be now. Maybe you can very clearly see where it goes from scales to smooth. But that's okay, it's not super noticeable, and I've done all this blood and war paint and stuff to help hide some of it. These big joints here were a huge pain to fill in, same thing on the other side, and then underneath, like underneath this part of the lip and in between, I don't know what this flappy skin thing is called, but in there, big gap that had to be filled in. But so yeah, so that's all green stuff. The quills on his head, this is gonna sound so so silly. These are nails. I drilled holes into his head, put nails in them, put green stuff around the bottom of each one of them to make them smooth, and then sculpted green stuff over that. Again, they're not as good as they could have been. Looking back, maybe I should have just put a big blob on there and done it with like toothpicks and done like 100 of them instead of only like 7. But that's what I did at the time. Like I said, I was just making this up as I went along. I'd never done anything like this before. But yeah, and then these little guys on either side here, just sculpted right on the side. There's some green stuff there, and then just sculpted out. But these top ones here are all nails, with the exception of maybe that small one at the front there. Yep, just a little close-up of his face there. And we'll put a Godzilla sound effect in there maybe. So moving on, try to go quicker here. The main weapons, so his arms and the back cannons, are real Forge World weapons. You can buy them separately from the model. They are very expensive. I'm not gonna lie, I got mine used, and possibly they might be from some sketchy source, but the quality looked good. Whether they're sketchy or whether they're real, I don't really know or care. But they look good, and considering I was using them for some big crazy kitbash, I wasn't really too worried about it. While I'm on the guns, I'll just touch real quick. Everything comes apart. All the pieces come off for ease of transport. That was really important to me because I love playing games and I wanted to play this in games, and trying to transport this thing to games would have been a nightmare if it didn't come apart. So the guns, magnetized, super easy, just at the joint there you can see some good strong magnets. I think I got those off Amazon, and it also lets the guns move, which is pretty cool. Same thing on the other side. These, because of the odd placement of them on this like cylinder thing here, they couldn't really be magnetized, but what I did do, and I don't really want to pull one off because they're kind of a pain to get back on, but they're just pinned in place. They do come off fairly easy, but I have to kind of wiggle them to get them off, and I'm just doing it with one hand, so I'm not going to do that just in case I don't want them to fucking fall over while I'm filming. That would be great. But anyway, so all three of these big guns come off. They're just little brass pins that go from the gun into the bottom, and then the entire saddle itself, as I can probably just lift it up a little bit here, the whole saddle itself, yep, it's magnetized underneath. I don't know how clear that'll show. There's several magnets going along the bottom that are holding this on, and then there's another pin going up underneath into the bottom here. That pin is hidden just underneath this guy where he's sitting. The pin is underneath his chair, so I can lift him up to see that pin to slot it on easier. The gun here is just your normal gun. I don't remember what this little base piece is. That is a little Tau friend there. These meat sacks here, this is actually the mesh you get on like a pack of oranges or a pack of clementines, and it's filled with some Space Marine and Orc bits and covered in lots of blood paint. The sandbags are all green stuff sculpted. The saddle itself, I'm probably blocking some of the light here. The saddle itself is a big piece of a plastic tote that I cut out in the shape that I wanted, and cut off in the shape that I wanted, and then I actually sculpted the green stuff over the top of it to look like an industrial metal grating kind of thing. I made a little video on this already, but all the crew there, see if you can kind of see it there. The crew are held on by Velcro, and the reason for that is explained in a previous video on my channel. You can go back and look at that. The little hollow table there is a 3D print, as are these missiles, as are the wires. Let's see if I can show better here. There's some chewed on bodies in there, because of course the crew have to have their snacks. I'll turn the dinosaur around, you can see those other guards better, but yeah, all those guards are held on by Velcro, and that was a quick solution to them not snapping when I took them off for transport. And then the railings here are actually wire trays from my work. Use them for organizing cables in the machines at my plant. They were broken and were just being thrown out, so I took them and clipped them into the right shape. They made the perfect railings. I'll turn the dinosaur around just so everybody can see the other side of him. He's got more battle scars over here. But I'll do a quick close-up of these guys here. Two different crew. Apologize again for literally filming this on a potato. But yeah, there's some much better quality pictures up on my Instagram, lots of them. But yeah, so that is the Kroot Tau'nar. Like I said, it's 100% built by me. Yeah, if you ever want to make your own, that is the steps that I did. I'm sure there's ways you could do it easier and faster, better. But that's what I did. It was a really fun project to do during lockdown. It's been a lot of fun to play with it in the couple games I've used it. And it's very satisfying to have this big thing as the centerpiece of the all Kroot army. Who says Tau can't melee? They can melee if you have all Kroot army. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate anybody that's actually watched, subscribed, likes, all these things. Love reading your comments on all the different social medias. And yeah, I know a lot of people were looking forward to this or asking about this, so hope this was helpful for anybody that wanted to know anything about how the Tau'nar was made. And I'll do the typical YouTuber thing, and I'll say like and subscribe. You know, wake your mom up, wake your dad up, middle of the night, I don't care. Go to your neighbor's house, kick in their door, tell them to go to Average Joe Warhammer, subscribe, like, give me all that love, guys. Come on. But no, I don't really care. I don't care if anybody likes them. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Expect more videos soon. I'll have some more kit bashing videos, some more model showcases shortly, and not long now I will do an entire Kroot army update video where I'll show off the whole army in full. I won't go into super detail, but I'll just show everything all lined up together. So, thanks again for watching. This is Zach from Average Joe Warhammer. Bye.